Hey Jam, let's take a look at how March will be impacting your zodiac. March is an intense month. We have 2 retrogrades and 2 eclipses, as well as Neptune changing signs since 2011. So there's a lot going on, and let's get straight into it. And let's kick off with March the 1st because Venus, the goddess of love and relationships, will be going retrograde at 10 degrees of Aries. That will be impacting both your 11th and 10th house. I've highlighted your 11th and 10th house on the screen because this is where there's going to be a lot of back and forth. To begin with, we're going to kick off the month with the sun in the 10th house. So a lot of energy when it comes to career, goals, and ambitions. Neptune is also going to be in your 10th house, but both the sun and Neptune will move in to your 11th house of groups, friendships, networks, hopes, and wishes for the future. We also have Venus and Mercury that will start off in your 11th house, but then go back into your 10th house. So a lot of back and forth, which means both of these areas of life are important. And the major theme for you this month is career, goals, ambitions, work life, friendships, groups, networks, hopes and wishes for the future, as well as home and family. And we'll get into that later on when we talk about the eclipses. But starting off with Venus retrograde, the goddess of love and relationships. On March the 1st until March the 27th, Venus will be in your 11th house. So this is going to impact friendships and groups and networking. Perhaps your friendships are changing. Perhaps there's some friendships that you let go of, or there's some tension that you kind of have to kind of like balance the peace, or typical Venus, right? Where you have to kind of come on to some agreement or discuss certain things, especially when Mercury goes retrograde here. Perhaps you need to reassess and reanalyze the friendships you're in, or the groups or the people you're acquainted to. Or even like if you're working on some collaboration or project with other people, your creativity changes, or your values and ideologies, or how you used to relate with friends or groups, that changes. There seems like there's going to be some important conversations that are going to occur, especially with Mercury here. So that's going to be really strong for you throughout March. And then when Venus goes into Pisces on March the 27th, it will move into your 10th house. Mercury goes retrograde on March the 15th and changes into Pisces and into your 10th house on March the 29th. So that's when the energy, the focus will be on career goals and ambitions. If there was something you started, but you need to kind of like reassess or reanalyze or readjust or kind of finish, that's going to come up. Or perhaps there's something you have to get clear on, or something you have to balance out. Perhaps it has to do with love and relationships. Perhaps it has to do with bringing more harmony into this area of life, bringing more joy into this life. Perhaps it means that you have to get your creative hat on, your thinking hat on, and brainstorm more ideas, or come up with something more creative, or something that works out for whatever you have in mind regarding career goals and ambitions. Perhaps there's some renegotiating. That could be a major theme. Okay, so these 2 areas of life are going to be very prominent for you, and retrogrades encourage a slowing down. They encourage going inwards and going backwards as well, in order to make sure that everything is in check and that you're not missing out on anything. It gives us an opportunity to make sure we're not missing out on the details, and that we're not looking at anything from rose-tinted glasses, although this isn't a time to make permanent or decisions for the future, but it is a good time that encourages us to go over what we have started. Now, on the topic of the 10th and 11th house, we're also going to have the sun that changes signs. So on March the 20th, the sun moves into Aries, moving into your 11th house. So again, an emphasis on friendships, groups, networks, and your hopes and wishes for the future. At the end of the month, and I'd rather just speak about this now since we're talking about the 11th house, on March the 30th, Neptune, the planet of dreams, intuition, and spirituality, moves out of your 10th house of career goals and ambitions and into your 11th house, which means that friendships may be more spiritual. Perhaps you could meet more people, new people. I mean, you're always meeting people, and you start to connect with spiritual people, or you want to collaborate with others that have the same spiritual vision as you or same spiritual values as you, or you're working on some spiritual project. Now, this will unfold, in divine timing. It won't happen straight away because Neptune is one of the most slowest moving planets. So this will happen at different times, but this is opening the doorway, the gateway for that to happen, which can be very pleasant. So that's something to look forward to. Let's talk about the eclipses. So March the 14th, we have a total lunar eclipse in Virgo at 23 degrees. It's right at the end, so we can round this up to 24 degrees. Eclipse is impacting your home life, your personal life, your family life, where you find your sense of healing, where you find your sense of belonging, but also impacting career goals and ambitions. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to the 10th house, the 4th house is always going to be impacted. And when it comes to the 4th house, the 10th house is always going to be impacted because they're opposites, okay? So they impact each other. With the eclipse being a lunar eclipse and being a south node eclipse, there is an emphasis on a letting go, a release, some sort of ending, something changing forms from one form to another. That could simply be like something that hasn't been serving you, or changing something in your personal life or in your home dynamic. And it seems like because the sun is in your 10th house and Saturn is closely next to the sun, opposing the lunar in Virgo, the moon in Virgo, there could be an obstacle or a block or a challenge regarding work or career or a goal you have in mind that is kind of like impacting your home life or impacting your family life or even like impacting emotions, because that's what the moon can rule over. Okay, so that's something that perhaps you have to kind of navigate or figure out or balance. These energies may encourage you to take a real deep dive into these two areas of your life and find out what's working and what's not working and what's the best solution and resolution you can come to, so that both of these areas of life can really succeed and be at the best, rather than you having to juggle both areas of life and one feels like it's not getting enough TLC, or perhaps one feels more challenged than the other. So that's where the focus for this eclipse is. Do take a look at where 24 degrees of Virgo falls in your chart, and if you have any close placements up to that 24 degrees of Virgo, because that will give you a much more clearer idea of what you can expect from this eclipse. But it is focusing on career goals, ambitions, and your home, family, and personal life, as well as your well-being and your healing and your emotions, okay? So there could be something that triggers these two areas of life. But this lunar eclipse is requiring a change, a liberation, okay? It's requiring some sort of routine as well, because that's what Virgo rules over. And being an air sign, especially being a mutable air sign, that can be difficult for you because you like to be free and, what is routine? You like to be spontaneous, but this is pushing for some sort of routine so you can get everything in order and get everything organized. Let's take a look at the eclipse that's occurring on March the 29th. Now, this is a partial solar eclipse, so it's kind of like a minor eclipse, although with all the Aries energy, it's definitely still coming in strong. Now, it's going to be in your 11th house. Interestingly enough, it's going to be at the same degree that Mercury goes retrograde and close enough to the degree Venus goes in retrograde, because this eclipse is at 9 degrees. Venus retrograde happens at 10 degrees. Mercury retrograde happens at 9 degrees. So look at where 9 degrees of Aries is in your chart, because if you have anything close to 9 degrees or exact, this will be quite profound for you. And this eclipse really just emphasizes on all that I've spoke about with friendships, groups, social networks, hopes and wishes for the future. Regarding Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde, it's really the cherry at the top, and it's really just amplifying that energy even more. So really take note of the 11th house, because that's going to be an area of life that really shifts and changes for you. There could be some sort of change in relationships to your friends, your community, your acquaintances, people people you're familiar with, even like your ideologies, or even in any sort of project you're involved with other people, or even like your hopes and wishes for the future. Something can change. That determines the future. So Gem rising, Gem dominance, I hope you have a transformative month ahead and may it work out in your favor, and I'll catch you soon.